Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the New Block Nerds podcast. I am your host, Chris, aka Prince, with my homie Duran, aka Matt Grizzly. Duran, say what's up to the folks.
Yeah, man. What's going on, B?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you?
Doing well.
Good, good. So, we got a couple of special guests here today with us to talk about all things Ant-Man Quantummania. So, please give a warm welcome to my brother Cardell and Nigel.
Yeah.
Welcome to the pod, guys. Welcome to the pod. So
Thank you.
y'all
I'm
want
happy
to just
to be here.
yeah, man.
Thanks
You
for having me.
started already.
Yeah, no, we're I feel like we're gonna get really into this tonight. I feel like this is something that we've been talking about since the trailer dropped, last week or 2 weeks ago, however long it's been. There's a lot to it, and I feel like we talked about this before about like how this current phase of Marvel has been kind of mid, for lack of a better term. And I think it's just like the transition of like after like the fallout of Thanos, right? You can't just like roll into something else, right? So like everyone's kind of, dispersed. That no one's like really together. The Avengers are kind of, in the wind. But I feel like Quantumania is going to be that movie that like really starts setting the course for like the next big bad, which is obviously Kang. So, Duran, I'm gonna throw it to you, man. First,
I want to ask,
thoughts on the trailer.
before I get my thoughts on the trailer, I got to get the new people here. I want to see what's going on. Nigel, you love Loki. You love it. I would say that Loki had like the bottom of the ninth inning home run to save their entire series in the last episode. So that is like the birth of what we're going to with the quantum realm and everything else going on with it. Tell me your thoughts on that. How did you feel about Loki's season finale and what's going forward?
So Loki, I felt was kind of it was decent. Great writing, and then the final episode when it was just my biggest complaint about superhero movies, especially DC movies. The third act's always got to be some big CGI monster. It's not just DC, it's Marvel too. My biggest complaint with Shang-Chi was that it was such a great movie, a story about a father and his kids. And then in the end, we had these big CGI dragons and da-da-da. It's ridiculous. But with Loki, at the end, we just had a group of 3 people just talking for the whole, 40 to 50 minutes.
Yep.
And it was nothing but Jonathan Majors chewing up the scenery. Like, he was just killing it as Kang. And I'm like, what? Give me more of this. You telling me this is the last episode? What? Come on now. So, first of all, I'm a fan of Jonathan Majors. I think he's going to knock it out the park as Kang. He can do anything. I don't know if you guys saw The Last Black Man in San Francisco, but he's a great actor, and I'll watch him do anything. I'll watch him eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and he could barely talk because the peanut butter's on the roof of his mouth, but he probably going to kill it. Like if you ever seen him act, and if you ever seen him act and eat at the same time, he's just going to be chewing up the scene, man. He's going to kill it, man. I'm excited. I'll watch him do anything, man. I'm excited.
So what's your predictions for the trailer? What'd you feel about it? They give you goosebumps? What's going on?
So I watched the last trailer and the first one that came out. I usually only watch the one, but because of podcast, I watched the last one, and the last one got me excited, man, because it was a lot more Kang, and I mean, shoot, it looked like they just having a final battle of them just with their fists, not even superpowers. They just beating each other up, and they like, yo, I'm a win, and I'm here for it, man. It looked good, man. Like, it came out that I was gonna say Chadwick, but
Majors.
no, no, Ryan Coogler. Him and his writing partner's idea for the original Black Panther 2 was about the loss of time, the grieving of the loss of time with his son. And it looks like we're getting that in Quantummania. It's going to be him grieving the loss of time he had with his daughter, now it seems like she's a stranger to him, and he kind of wants that time back. I mean, 3 out of 4 of us are fathers here. I mean, I'm sure we can relate to that, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that, especially people who grew up with Kang as a character. Now they grown and they got kids. It's like, who wouldn't want that?
I would say 4 out of 4. Cardell, how'd your feelings about the trailer and what's going on with it?
So after seeing the first trailer, I was excited, but after seeing the second one, I was like pumped. Building kind of off of what Nigel said, I was really excited to see him just putting like hands and feet on Ant-Man. Like not as much like, fantasy, supernatural powers and stuff, just beating the brakes off of him. So I'm really excited to see a much more like brutal, destructive version of Kang as opposed to the one that we saw at the end of Loki, which again really goes to show how great of an actor Jonathan Majors is, being able to give us these different variations of the same person.
Yeah, no, that's
and I don't even think this is going to be the.
I was going to say, no, that's a great point, just about like, and I think that kind of plays into like how Kang is going to be like as a character, because remember, we just got the introduction to him in Loki, right? So, and he was trying to explain to them like, hey, look, there's millions of me's out there.
Yes.
I'm the tame one. So when you guys kill me, all you're doing is going to open up a power vacuum, and all these other crazies are going to come out, trying to take what I've pruned and made like the kind of main timeline that we are, that is the MCU, right? So like, to your point, Cardell, like I think we got one version of Kang in Loki. This one's a completely different version of Kang. And like he's got like scars on his face and stuff like that. Like, he's not like the same guy who was in Loki. Like this looks like a Kang who's, he's not afraid to get his hands dirty. And I'm excited to see that.
Do y'all think this is the worst Kang? Or do y'all think this is like mid-level? Like, what Kang do you think we're going to witness right now? Because the trailer's showing this, right?
He's the
blue
boss.
eyes. You mentioned the scars. Like, what Kang are we really getting right now?
I think this is definitely not Kang in his final form.
Okay.
Let's think about it. Let's think about this. This is Kang that I'm just going off of what we know from the trailers. He's trying to make a deal with Scott, Ant-Man, to eventually, I'm assuming, get him out of the quantum realm because he's stuck there. Because everyone who goes there gets stuck there. This is a Kang who got stuck. Right? Not the one that was at the end of time and had already won everything.
Yeah.
Now, even though that guy, we would think, oh, he's a little more, mild-mannered than this one is. But what did he have to do to get to that point where he was the only Kang left? So, and in between those two versions of Kangs are limitless possibilities.
So how do y'all feel about MODOK and like the whole bringing back from Yellow Jacket using the same actor? How did y'all feel about that? Anybody?
Nobody felt anything
Not
about
really.
it.
I felt that way about it.
fan.
Exactly. I felt the same exact way. I thought it was like not really a thing at all. Like an entire trailer, it showed that. I understand that he's going to be a potential bad as far as using the mind, the warfare of using mental. I think that's a big thing moving forward. Everyone's used to, even Thanos, Thor, the Incredible Weak Hulk. Like everything about what they did in the first couple of phases were about, I think, strength. Now they're actually getting to the mind games and what's going to happen. So as far as like potential games with, this is Ant-Man. No one really said their favorite superhero was Ant-Man growing up. So having this much excitement for an Ant-Man movie, that's dope. And we all both said that it's been kind of dry of late. Like it's more like a reset button. So what are y'all predictions? Cause like y'all see any 4-member crews coming? What do y'all see coming soon?
Can I just say, they better not bring back Tony Stark.
Ooh, why not? Why not? You don't want your boy Tony?
It cheapens his sacrifice.
Okay.
I agree 100%.
It cheapens it, man.
I agree.
I don't care about
So I'm not opposed to bringing in one from another universe with a different actor. Because Tony has to exist elsewhere. This isn't the only timeline he exists.
Yeah, I do think though to that point, if we do get another version of like some of the older Avengers,
Mm-hmm.
it'll be in Secret Wars. Like we won't get it in this one, I would think.
Not having a taste, you don't think? Like you don't see
No,
like an Easter egg or nothing. Like we going through like, yo, there's another like, yo, that's right. He's right here. He's in this place because Kane can't be the only person that's stuck down there. In my mind, in my thinking about it, there has to be someone else there. As far as like,
I think I know who else is down there.
yeah. Go ahead. Who thinks down there? Let me know. What you feel?
I was talking to a couple of you guys about this off air.
Yeah.
I think this is where we're introduced to Fantastic Four in some way.
Boo.
I think
I heard
this is when
rumors
it
of that.
happens. Yeah, I think this is when it happens because I mean, look, they've already announced, that they have a director for Fantastic Four. So like, I'm assuming they have a script, and if they have a director and they have a script, you can't tell me that they don't at least have a short list on who they want to play. You know, Reed and Sue and Johnny and Ben. So
Mm-hmm.
I think they've been keeping it under wraps
Okay.
for like a big reveal in here. I don't think they're going to have a big role. I'm not necessarily saying that like, oh, we're going to get all four of the Fantastic Four, but I think we're going to get something. We're going to get something about.
We've
the
already
Fantastic
seen a
Four.
Reed. We've already seen a Reed.
Right. Well, and that's my point, right? It's just like, is that okay? After, and we kind of talked about this a little bit too. After Loki, when they killed that version of Kang,
Mm-hmm.
I think that triggered all. If you look at like Marvel Phase 4, a lot of these, not every single one of them, but a lot of these projects have had to deal with multiverse or interdimensional travel or time travel or something. I mean, we're talking like Miss Marvel did it, Doctor Strange, of course, Wanda, of course, in her TV series. There's a few others that I'm playing. I mean, Spider-Man, No Way Home, right?
Spider-Man.
Right. So like,
Mm-hmm.
I think so. I'm just thinking about this logically, and I could be wrong about this, right? But you just bear with me for a second. If the guy we know as Kang from Loki, if our main timeline that we've been in is the result of him pruning all the other Kangs, killing him would set that chain reaction of all these different branches kind of like branching out. And now we're starting to get more and more interdimensional travel and like all these other kinds of shenanigans that we've been seeing in Marvel Phase 4. Now, it hasn't amounted to anything yet because we're still trying to figure out what's going on because the only person who understands how any of this shit works is Kang.
Yeah. Very true. Or you
Have
want
y'all
to
heard
or not? Go ahead.
Have y'all heard the theory that Phase 4 has been the theme of it has been grieving of loss, whether it's loss of a relationship, loss of a person, loss of time, whatever. And there's a theory that when what's her name killed that version of Kang, that all this disheveled storylines that we have seen in Phase 4 have actually just been the ripple effect of different timelines and different characters in different timelines. Some of them are connected, some of them aren't. Like I think in She-Hulk,
Don't mention
hers
that.
is
Don't mention that show. Mister.
hers is connected to Eternals or whatever. But yeah, some people have theorized that's the case, that this is like Phase 4 has just been a glimpse of all the craziness going on, disarray, and soon it's going to converse into one thing, and Kang's going to be that catalyst.
I like your theory, but if your theory consists of erasing She-Hulk from existence, I'm sign me up. That is the worst television program ever existed in life. Go ahead, Cardell. I'm sorry. Can't stand that show.
Well, just for that, I hope it's a mainstay on Disney Plus for the next couple years.
Yo! You full of it. Go ahead, man. You full of it.
That's
Can
all
I
I
say
got.
that there's an actress on She-Hulk that agrees with Duran and has begged Disney to put her in Star Wars. Jamila, whatever her name is,
Okay.
the one who played that like pop influencer or whatever, the
Yeah.
Indian chick.
Uh-huh.
She is like bash She-Hulk and wants to be in something else.
It's
I'm like,
it's terrible
wow.
because like here's my now we're going to She-Hulk tangent. We're going to talk about that another day. But back on the quantum and your whole theory of everything being loss of time and the resurgence of love and how everyone's being emotional. You can say it's probably the emotional type phase. It really has been. You can start off with original with Cap, Endgame. It all stopped when Cap's passed the shield. I lived a good life. Then you have the Tony. You have every single thing's been leading up to where you're right. Like people are moving on. Time is not. We don't control time. We're superheroes, but that's one thing we cannot control. So down there, you have in this quantum realm, you have the whole thing where Kang wants to get out. What other bad do y'all think is down there besides Kang? Or if Kang does get out, what other bads and be like, hey, thank you for opening the door. Now it's time to have some fun.
Doctor Doom.
You think Doom's gonna be that simple? Because you already mentioned Fantastic Four. Like you think it's gonna be like a back-to-back type thing?
I think he's imprisoned down there
Ooh.
on purpose. And then when he gets out, that's when the Fantastic Four are like, oh snap.
Mm-hmm. See, I'm with you, Nigel. I think again, I'm already putting money on Fantastic Four will be in this film in some way, shape, or form. So if they're in there, maybe it was, maybe they're from a different timeline, right? Because, well, obviously they have to be from some timeline. Otherwise, Kang doesn't exist without Reed Richards anyways. Because his real name
He's
is
like the
Nathaniel
great,
Richards.
great grandson.
Right. So he's 1,000 years removed from Reed, right? So they have to exist for Kang to exist. That's number one, right? But they haven't been in our timeline. And maybe it's just that for whatever reason, they just don't exist in this timeline. But in the quantum realm, of course, everything works differently. And to your point, Nigel, maybe the Fantastic Four have already been kind of in action, but just in a different timeline. And so they've had their battles with Doom and everything like that. And maybe the last time they got into it with Doom, the only way to stop him was to trap him in the quantum realm. But by doing so, they trap themselves there as well. So it's Fantastic Four, Doom, and Kang all in the quantum realm together.
Let's not forget, Multiverse of Madness pointed out that the Fantastic Four were around the 60s. I think it was Doctor Strange who was like, weren't you guys around in the 60s?
Yeah.
Boom.
So, okay, Cardell, do you think that, because now that Marvel's bringing up, popping up old movies, everything else, do you think the original cast of Fantastic Four is going to pop back up? Or do you think it's going to be a brand new cast?
No, I think it'll be a brand new cast. I do agree with my brother and Nigel as far as them properly introducing it here. I think Doom has to go right along with Fantastic Four. If the only other way I could have seen him introducing him would have been possibly through like a Black Panther, which obviously we saw that they did not go that route. So I think this would be a great way to kind of get Doom out there. And he's going to be like one of those big bads that could be a recurring one, probably on a lesser level than Kang is going to be for this phase. So I would put Doom might end up being like what Loki was to the previous phases. Kang will kind of be the Thanos to this phase.
All right, so I need y'all to hear me out. I got some theory time. So let me know how y'all feel about this. Everybody speak up on this. You know how Endgame, they had the blue shields, right? They had the blue shields and like go back in time. And then even like everything was blue. If you look at the blue and the coloring of Marvel, everything in Marvel has some kind of color, realm, fill with anything. Back to the original first Avenger in blue, this cube, everything about time, right? I know you say you don't want Iron Man to come back, but I feel like Iron Man is coming back. And the reason why I feel Iron Man is coming back is because Kang is the new Iron Man in a sense. Everything he's trying to do as far as the science, as far as the time travel, as far as the technology, even look at his blue eyes, right? The contacts, the shield comes over his face. That's Iron Man. You look at him even when he's like floating, I think like he has a static shock disc though. He has those little discs, he knows that. Like trash can disc. If you notice DC, let's rock with it. He got that in there. But how would y'all feel would y'all feel like, damn, this is a letdown like Doctor Strange 2 if it's no big bad besides just Kang? Or is that like a selfish thing? Or are we expecting more because it's Marvel? We want everything to happen at one point in time. Like, what if it's a slow roast? And this one just focusing on just Kang?
No, I'd be okay with that because I do think like we're still going to get a second villain in MODOK. And MODOK will be kind of like the, I feel like it's very common in comic book movies now. You do two of a hero's rogues gallery in the movie. But one is the big bad and one is the kind of, leveling up to the big bad. So No, I'd be okay with it. And the thing is, we all know that we're building up towards Secret Wars. So, and we know that there's a million Kangs out there. So there's no reason to rush anything. Give us a little bit of a tease. You gave us a little bit in Loki.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's see Kang in action in this one. But I think we're going to be left knowing that he's going to be coming back, obviously.
I think we're getting two different Kangs in the trailer. I think we're getting the one Kang of help me get out is the nicer Kang, and then we're getting the one that when at the end of it, when he said let me get out, the person comes up through the door that beats the brakes off of him is the evil Kang. Because that person that's coming out is pleading, hey, let me get out of here. I think he's saying, let me get out of here. You lost your daughter, your time with your daughter. I want to get back because I think he's like more the of the spectrum of nice versus evil. He's trying to go back and like almost mend what's happening. But then when he actually goes and destroys everything, all hell breaks loose. Like doors open and like, yeah, what's going on? That's
Ron,
what my
I
theory
think you
is
just predicted the big twist of the film that's not even out yet.
I just think so because like Jonathan Majors, like for instance, I'm not sure if you guys watch. Well, Creed 3 comes out, he's gonna freaking blow out the water. The Hardy Fall, like every type of where he's actually Devotion just came out recently. He was really good in that. He plays a part, and you get sunk in that part, but you don't realize the back end he's like playing the other part, the twist towards the end, and you feel like, damn, he just played me like live on camera with emotion, and is really really good at it. And it's Marvel being Marvel, and like you don't get that kind of actor to play this part. And then Loki, like I said, last inning home run, what he did, because I didn't care for Loki until that part. I'm not going to sit here and lie to y'all. It was okay. It was subpar, but that made it like top 3 as far as TV series. I think they're going to do more than just make it a standard thing in your eyes.
Do you think we're going to get Iron Man in the sense that they're going to like change how it was in the comics? Because let's not forget Iron Lad. You know, because of Kang, Iron Lad exists.
Mm-hmm.
Where Iron Lad was Nathaniel Richards. Do you think they're going to switch it so it's a younger Tony Stark for the MCU instead of a Nathaniel Richards?
Well, I'm not even sure. Would we even get any other variation of Iron Lad? We just got Iron Heart.
Oh yeah, true. But Iron Wars, that's a movie now, not
It
a
is.
TV show.
I know they changed that whole. I was looking for a TV show too. That's a good.
I mean, I don't know, Cardell. To your point, though, I do think there's something to be said for saturation, though.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like we got Ironheart. We know she's getting her own series, so does it make sense to bombard us with more Iron Man themed or Iron Man adjacent things? I don't know. And honestly, like to your point, Nigel, it lessens the blow of him actually dying. I mean, throughout the entire first 20-something movies, he was a, selfish, egotistical asshole, but he's the guy who makes the ultimate sacrifice.
Exactly.
It makes it weaker if y'all bring him back. Also, I don't think, going outside of like the comic book world, I think if you ask him to come back now, he's gonna demand something ridiculous.
Ridiculous, right? Like you're gonna break the bank with him.
Yeah, you'd have to break the bank to get him to come back.
I think Galactus is gonna have I think the breadcrumbs are gonna start going towards Galactus. Ooh. Because like you mentioned Quantum Realm, and like I know a lot of y'all did not care for Eternals, but I actually enjoyed Eternals a lot. And Eternals, you don't. That. Thank you, Carter. We agree on something. It's gonna snow tomorrow. Eternals, you don't drop that movie at the time it was for no reason at all. You don't mention also that Guardian of the Galaxy 3 is coming up and how this is going to be the end of their run. There's things that's going to shake this whole thing up. Like I'm not going to say you're going to have a whole new Galaxy Quest, Silver Surfer, stuff like that. But I really do think that Galactus breadcrumbs, like you had Thanos breadcrumbs, are going to happen really soon. Kang is just a part of that.
Okay, so let me ask you a question there, because I like where you're going, but I have to ask the question, then who is the big bad then? Is it going to be Kang or is it going to be Galactus? Because, I mean, you could argue either of them deserve to have the spotlight the same way Thanos did.
I think Kang's going to end up being a hero in the long term. I think he's going to end up being like New Iron Man type style. I really do.
That's a hot take.
I know. That's what I really think. I really think that the actor, the way he does things, I think him being able to multitask within a scene is really rare. And I think that in the trailer, there's 2 different Kangs we're seeing. We already know he does the Naruto, the multiply. We already know it's going to happen. So we don't know what we're really seeing. So I
said
think
the Naruto multiply.
Hey, Pay homage to the GOAT. So we already know what's going. Pay homage. So what I'm thinking is like literally the path we're going is with the fans feeling like, yo, he's the big bad, he's the big bad, he's the big bad. And all of a sudden, like, yo, the other one's like, I'm trying to help you guys. I want things to get back in order. This is wrong. I think maybe 5 or 6 movies down the road when that happens. But I think Galactus is actually going to be the big bad. Or Doctor Doom, like you mentioned, Cardo. I think that could be it. But I think Galactus is the end game. Because you don't mention Eternals and mention space. Like they've already touched kind of the Earth thing. They kind of mentioned Thanos and other planet. They mentioned like a little dabbles, but they really haven't mentioned the Galactus. Like the actual how much power this man has. That's just my opinion.
But to your point, you can go in the other direction and say Doctor Doom's the real big bad. I mean, Doctor Doom, yo,
Is he overrated?
MF. No, he's not.
He's not.
No.
Hold on. Duran, I gotta push back on you because the first thing I think of when I think of Doctor Doom is like the big bad. There's a comic book panel. I'm not sure what book it's from, where basically Thanos runs up on him, and Doctor Doom pulls some Mortal Kombat shit and literally pulls this man's spine out.
Get over here.
So like I honestly feel like in many ways I feel like Doctor Doom is sometimes underrated. I do feel like he can be overrated.
Okay.
But frankly, I think Doctor Doom is like, I feel like the fandom around Doctor Doom can kind of get a little crazy because, and this is gonna be a hot take here, Doctor Doom is he's better than the superhero in that run.
Yes.
He's so much more of an interesting character than Fantastic Four.
Yes.
Some people might hate me for saying this. I don't give a damn about Fantastic Four. I honestly don't.
Oh my God.
I honestly don't.
That's
the only reason why we care about Fantastic Four is because of the adjacent things that come with it. Silver Surfer, Galactus, Doctor Doom. None of us give
Kang
a shit
the
about
Conqueror.
Sue Storm.
And Kang.
Yeah, and Kang.
Yeah, I don't care about the Fantastic Four like in its own
Yo,
right.
y'all not gonna be for me like by saying this out loud, but I actually enjoyed the Michael B. Jordan Fantastic Four a little more than the action.
You would though. You would, and now we've lost a co-host. Thanks a lot.
I enjoyed it, bro. I did because it was actually. He turned it like.
I'm sorry.
Only because of the characters were more interesting to me than the typical Fantastic Four, which I didn't care about. I cared about, like you said, the Silver Surfer. I didn't care. You can't tell me if I just didn't care. I couldn't care. They're like my auntie superheroes. I didn't like them. I didn't care. Yo, Nigel, fix your face.
I think you just like that. Michael B. Jordan was there with his muscles.
No, first of all,
let's go.
Applause on so many levels. Applause on so many levels. I actually, some of the story actually showing how Ben, how everything created.
There was no story.
It was a freaking story. Open your eyes. I forgot you love Black Panther too, and it was trash. Go ahead.
All right, moving on. All right, so I got a question for y'all because I feel like they have to up the ante with Kang, right? Like if this is again, we're all pretty much in agreement that this is going to be the movie to really start pushing things forward for the next phase of Marvel films.
Yeah.
How do you think they're going to convince us that Kang is for real, that he is someone to be feared on the same level as like a Thanos? Like does Scott Lang make it out of this movie alive?
Possibly not, or possibly stuck in the quantum realm.
Or maybe he just
like
X's out a whole timeline or universe or causes a conversion or something. And they got to find a way to depower him or something.
I'm actually going to agree with Cardell. This is weird. I think he gets stuck. And the reason why I think he gets stuck is because Marvel's doing a shift in lead characters. And I feel like Scott Lang is part of the old cast, and they're trying to get these new faces out there. And moving forward, it's going to show where the origin came from of Kang, but it's going to go into a whole new light. They are pushing even like Hawkeye, female lead. We haven't even talked about Nigel, help me out. Black and white suit, dark skinned lady. Marvel's TV show.
Phasar?
No.
I mean, her name was Phasar, but
Yeah, but like there's different character leads going to happen with quantum, like almost quantum powers, atomic powers type
Spectrum.
thing. Yeah, so I don't think that they're gonna. I think it's gonna be stuck, like Cardell said, and that's going to change everything. He's
True.
going. Somebody's like Nigel said too. Someone's gonna die.
If I'm looking at the trailer, right, it looks like there's a shit ton of Ant-Man running around down there,
Naruto.
getting turned into ribbons. Reality Stone style.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Reed Richards in that other universe who got his shit pushed in by Wanda.
She did him real dirty. Spaghettified. But I feel like a lot of them are coming together to try to fight against Kang. Because he's obviously using this dangling this reward of additional time in front of them and probably messing with all of their children.
Yes.
But it looks like a lot of them, these Ant-Men from a bunch of universes, are not going to make it out.
Nah, they look different. So do you think it's going to be a switcheroo, like to start the movie with Scott Lang and then move with a different Ant-Man? Like, do you think his daughter's going to pick the mantle up or it's going to be a multiverse Ant-Man?
His daughter.
I'm leaning towards his daughter. We might see him talking to variants of himself from other universes while they're in the quantum realm, kind of going through all this mayhem. But I think ultimately that mantle is probably going to get passed on.
Yeah, definitely to piggyback.
I think them showing his. I think them showing his helmet get stepped on and crushed in the trailer is a little telling. And him saying, "I don't have to win; we just both have to lose."
That's a tight line. That was tough.
That's somebody who realizes that they can't win.
So Prince, let me best you real quick, man. Do you think X-Men going to have any connection to this?
As much as I would like them to be, I don't.
You want to say it, don't you?
I don't think so. Only because there hasn't been any news of any movement on the X-Men front.
She-Hulk.
Except
this
well, we're
and
not
Multiverse
acknowledging
Madness.
She-Hulk. That's the second time She-Hulk's been brought up in this podcast. And I'd like to keep it at 0. Anyway, the only real thing that we acknowledge was in Miss Marvel when he called, what was happening to her a mutation. And we got a little bit of the X-Men theme. That's all we've gotten. We've gotten so much
Multiverse
more.
of Madness.
Okay, yeah,
Professor
but
X.
but I feel like that was a one-off. Let's
Yeah.
give you guys some fan casting kind of stuff, and because
Well,
they only did some of that like fan service because they knew Wanda was going to body all of them, so they were just like, all right, you guys want John Krasinski as Reed Richards? Okay, he's only going to be alive for 6 fucking minutes, but cool.
Let's not forget Black Panther 2. Namor is a mutant. I mean, Namor.
Yeah,
Namor.
I get that. Black
Chris, I kind of agree with what you're saying to an extent, right? But never mind.
Say your thought, man. Say your thought. As long as not Black Panther 2 was good, we cool. As long as it's not that, we okay with it.
No, but I mean, honestly, I just think because we've gotten so much more news about Fantastic Four, recently that's not for no reason.
So
it's not for no reason, and not to mention the inherent connection between Fantastic Four, Reed Richards, and Kang. I mean, the connection is there; they're quite literally related. So it's
it's a little bit of fan service, but it's also just kind of setting the pace, hey, these niggas do exist somewhere. So when we introduce them later, it's not like, oh, this came out of nowhere. It's like, hey, remember seeing Professor X in Universe 834 or whatever? They're out there. You just haven't seen them yet.
To play devil's advocate, we got more evidence of mutants than we did of Fantastic Four. We got more hints, more cameo. I mean, Namor in Black Panther 2 says, I am a mutant.
That's true.
It's and then he calls her a mutant in Miss Marvel and Professor X, and we
That's
see the
true.
Wolverine claws happen on a newspaper in She-Hulk. I mean, that chick's show. So, I mean, we got more evidence of, mutants running around.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. I almost think too that like the X-Men on their own could be an entire universe in and of itself.
Yeah.
So like if you were to put them in a movie like this,
It would be a
logically I don't know.
disservice.
Logically, I don't know how it works. Like we talked about all the connections with Kang in the Fantastic Four and Doctor Doom and Galactus. Like all that makes like narrative logical sense, right?
Okay.
Just bringing X-Men in, at least in this movie, to me, just it feels more just like, hey guys, we got something else coming down the pipeline too. Wink, wink. You know what I mean?
Got you. So I guess what I'm thinking is, because the Kangs are all over the place, there's limitless possibilities of them being connected to anything. Like this particular one is a quantum realm. The next one could be actually him connected to somebody else. So like we said, he's going to pop up almost like the next. It's just every single movie you could actually have a Kang if you really wanted to,
Literally.
and different versions of them. So towards the end, like the Stan Lee type, R.I.P. to my guy, but that could be kind of his thing. Kang can be hop anywhere. The reason I'm asking for that is because X-Men was the big hype, like you said. Everyone's talking about mutants, right? But you also said Fantastic Four is more of a villain type love than it is hero love in most people's eyes. So why do we even care for the Fantastic Four in the quantum realm? Because everything else could possibly happen. But once you get out of the quantum realm, you come out to Earth, what's going to happen next? So what's the next movie? And your personal opinion, like, what do you think next? What do you think next big bad going to be? Like, what's next? If you're Marvel, well, you don't put all your eggs in one basket in this movie, or is it going to be like a domino effect?
There's a theory that, like you said, Grizz, every single mantle has been passed to someone younger.
Yeah.
So there's a theory that quantummania is going to do some kind of time thingamabobber thing where it's like a flash forward, especially with, spoiler alert, Black Panther 2. You find out T'Challa had a son named T'Challa, also named Toussaint. So there's a theory, I don't know if it's true, that it's going to fast forward where they're all the new Hawkeye, the new Black Widow, Toussaint, everybody they're already the new Avengers, and then Kang drops down on them like, hey, what's up? And they have to help the other universes, like old Avengers or whatever, save everybody and stuff.
You know, that's actually a good point, Nigel, because I mean, it's not. Here's the thing about Kang, and this is why like we wanted to sit down and talk about this, because with Kang, any and everything that we just mentioned is possible. Because he's got a million versions of himself out there running around like he's fucking Ultron.
Yes.
Right? So like, to your point, Nigel, about the I'm having a total brain fart right now. You were just mentioning what were you just mentioning? I'm sorry.
Young Avengers.
About how the
Young Avengers.
The mantle's been passed to all these new Avengers.
Just like the line that was in the trailer, not the one that we saw, but I think the one that they released at D23, when Scott Lang is like, "Oh, you're in trouble. I'm an Avenger," and Kang just looks at him and goes, "An Avenger, huh? Have I killed you before?"
Oh yeah.
So remember, he has seen a bunch of different iterations of the Avengers as well, too, right? So it's not out of the realm of possibility that maybe one of the versions of Kang has fought a Young Avengers team, or different iteration of T'Challa, or new Hawkeye, or Scott Lang's daughter in a different timeline,
or the Squadron Supreme.
Right.
Dude,
oh, see, that's a real deep cut.
The only issue I have with your kind of aging up theory is that would have a big effect on Spider-Man.
Good point.
As well, who they are definitely not ready to age up.
Okay,
True.
So I would have to rule that one out.
Okay,
True.
so I like everybody's theory, and what if we mixed it up? What if we almost talking about King Tut and how Kang can be King Tut, and how we go back in the old days and talk about how the Fantastic Four could be stuck down there. What if they do a flashback showing Fantastic Four and showing the whole thing as far as him killing Avengers before, and how he had a streak of massacring people? Then you said they all get stuck down there. This time skip thing, what if it's a blended one? What if you have one where you have some people from the past currently present with the new generation, actually going against this one unstoppable force in Kang? So that's all that I think about too. Is King Tut? It's like you can't have that character and not go back to that point in time in a timeline. You have to bring him up somehow, because if you go forward, then you're erasing everything about that. So maybe that's a part.
And you know something, Nigel, you're gonna like this. If they go back then, because obviously he's Kang has been a pharaoh before.
Yeah.
And who did he in the comics name as his heir when he was a pharaoh? Little trivia for y'all.
Who was it?
A young man named Ensabanur.
Oh,
but we know him as Apocalypse, the very first mutant.
Baby.
So, Nigel,
if you go back, I said X-Men, didn't I? I said X-Men. That's all I'm gonna say. I said X-Men.
It's possible, and plus, I mean, you're opening up all these different timelines, like you said, Deron. Maybe it can be blended. Obviously, in another universe, now that Disney has bought Fox and they have the rights to X-Men, we know that in all these different universes, the X-Men are out there somewhere. We don't know where, we don't know when they existed, but we know they're there, and we know.
You guys, I'm like cutting so seeing Ben Affleck get bodied by King Tut, and then we just go Daredevil.
Yo, you joke? That would be genius if they did stuff like that. Like all the OG, like Fox and Universal and Paramount Marvel movies, if they brought all them Jones back, like you just see Edward Norton come out of nowhere. He's like, "Hey, who are you?"
Yo, what are you sorry. I had to get that in there. I'm sorry.
Well, it's all right. Deadpool's already taken care of some of the Fox universe for you, so
that's very true. I just feel like King Tut, like, mention Apocalypse, mention all these things are like that could be a starting point for X-Men. Like this movie right here could be. It feels like the end it feels almost like Endgame type energy. Like you want to like, yo, I can't wait to watch this. I don't care how long it's gonna be. I just want to see how it goes. So Cardell, are you gonna be there day one? Because I know you're like kind of like a movie critic on the low. For some movies, I don't really care for. I'll see it day after too. I want to see what the reviews are. Are you going to be there day one, no matter what's going on with actual Rotten Tomato?
What day is it? The 17th? I'm in there.
I bet. All right, cool. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I think, Deron, to your point, man, like we haven't felt this way about a movie in a long time. Like you said, this is like Endgame energy, and like the people who know, like the casual viewer who just started watching, who just started getting into comics because the MCU, maybe they don't know so much about Kang, but like for folks like us, like we see these two trailers and we're like, you know what I mean? Like we haven't had something like this to get this excited about in such a long time, and like everything we just said, it opens Pandora's box for literally the entirety of the MCU and the Marvel universe, like in the comics, because now that they bought Fox and they got, the Fantastic Four and X-Men and everything like that, everything's back home under one umbrella, the way it should be. Yeah. And now we got someone who can do interdimensional travel and go to different universes and all this other kind of stuff. Honestly, this is a great spot for them to be in, because go pick a comic. You can justify it.
Yeah, you can.
You can make it work. Whatever you want to adapt at this point, because you brought in Kang, you can do now. Nothing is off limits.
I just want them to erase everything with the Incredible Hulk and make a new one. But any final thoughts?
You didn't like the Incredible Hulk?
That's the one thing Kang's not going to prune.
The Incredible Hulk is canon. You know that, right?
That's what I said. I want him to erase everything when he started. Like anything dealing with the Hulk character from.
But you want She-Hulk, right? That's what you want.
Yo, watch your tone, bro. Watch your tone.
Oh, not sure if this has any impact on what to expect from the movie, but I hear that the third Doctor Strange movie is being moved up.
Really? Yo, you
Yeah.
care for that movie after what happened on the last one?
I mean, I'm still gonna see it.
I feel like no, I get it. This like the excitement I had for Doctor Strange 2 and how I expected. Like I ain't gonna lie, I was hoping Wesley popped up. I ain't gonna lie. So the
I
fact
think
that
we
it
all
didn't
were.
happen, I know. It just call me naive. I get it. But now I'm like,
Naive.
you know what? I love you. I just love you so much that just sometimes it's one time.
But I wanted Wesley to show up as an alternate version of T'Challa
Mhm.
because back in the 90s, he wanted to play Black Panther. The studio wouldn't let him, so he settled on Blade and he revolutionized that role. And because of that role, it showed the studios that comic book movies are feasible. And then that led to Fox's X-Men, that led to TriStar's Spider-Man movies, that led to the MCU that we know now.
And the X-Men were wearing black leather because Blade made
I know.
that shit cool.
Exactly. Thank you, bro.
You can't
And
find it. You can't
It's a fact.
find a comic where Wolverine's walking around in fucking black spandex.
exactly. And me and Grizz talked about in a different podcast, like Wesley Snipes, he made Blade to what we know today. Because Blade in the old comics, bro, he was corny as hell. And he was English, and he was
like Cardell. So you thought you got Prince before we wrap this up.
Deron,
Yes, sir.
I'm trying to be different in the new year.
Too bad I'm not. So
Obviously, you haven't lost any weight.
All right. See, this is why. This is why we always have to cap our conversations because we end up just going down different rabbit holes, and then Cardell and Deron start insulting each other, and then it just gets out of hand. Anyways, last final thoughts before we wrap this up. I mean, I'm excited for this movie. I haven't been this excited for a Marvel movie in a while. I mean,
yeah,
of course, we were all excited for Black Panther 2 just because of we wanted to see how they were gonna bounce back, after losing Chadwick. I think we were all very excited for like Doctor Strange 2, even though we got a small taste of what comic book Wanda can do when she gets mad. I don't think that ended up being anything that any of us expected. I mean, again, we just rambled off a bunch of things about like things that are now possible with the multiverse, and all they gave us was Wanda going on a little 5-minute killing spree. But yeah, I mean, I'm stoked for this movie, man. I'm excited to see Kang. I think Jonathan Majors is going to kill it for all the reasons that we talked about. Yeah, I don't think Scott Lang is long for the world.
yeah, it's a wrap. This is it. They're making a whole new cast. Contract's over, bro.
Yeah, I think his days are numbered.
Yeah, it's a wrap. But y'all,
Okay, Nigel, you got anything else?
Ooh. Does anybody remember the old Marvel animation when they had Iron Man as an old man with the young Avengers? When you had T'Challa's kid mixed with Storm,
yes.
you had Black Widow's kid mixed with Captain America.
Yes.
We talked on the podcast. I just thought about what you said, Nigel. Yes, there is a old
Where
school
you think I got
Avenger.
that from?
Huh? Yeah, old school Avenger type animation where everyone has kids. You have Mighty, you have a female Thor, and you have old man Hulk, and you have I'm not sure if he didn't change his name yet on that part, but you have old man Hawkeye, and you have old man Iron Man. But anyway, yeah, we'll talk about next time.
Yeah, that's a pod for another day for sure.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yeah. You guys got anything else, Cardell?
I'm just super excited for Ant-Man.
Muted.
I think. Am I?
No, you good.
Okay. I'm just super excited for Ant-Man 3. I think Jonathan Majors is going to blow it out of the water. I think this is one of many iterations of Kang we're going to see over the next few major movies in this phase. and they're kind of going to give him a chance to really set up his character long term. Scott Lang, I think it's been real. I hope they remember you because I don't think he's got much longer to live in the MCU in any universe because it looks like all of the Ant-Man are going to get hit with a big bottle of Raid. So
We are sponsored.
Yeah, we're not sponsored by Raid or anything. No, don't take that the wrong way, guys. Nigel, you got anything else, man?
I'm excited for it. I'm not trying to get too excited though because you know, Phase 4 is kind of like ruined a lot for me, movies and shows. But I mean, we had some gems, but I'm not trying to get too excited. But I think the greatest appeal about this movie is, like you said, Prince. You bring Kang into the picture. You open up a can of worms for literally anything to happen. I think that's the greatest appeal of it. Everybody's just waiting to see which direction they're going to go and how they're going to utilize them because literally the sky's the limit. That's all I got.
Duran, bring us home.
All right, first of all, subscribe, like, tell a friend. I love you guys. But when it's all said and done, I think Ant-Man's going to be a top 5 Marvel film of all time. And I think it's going to be heavily based on Mr. Major's acting ability, along with the visual effects of the combat. I think it's going to be a top 5 Marvel film when it's all said and done.
Yeah,
I think you found your next podcast, the list of your top 5 Marvel movies.
Ooh, that's gonna be tough. Duran and I are gonna argue about this one for sure.
Oh, fuck yeah. If you mention Black Panther, we're going to have a problem. Go ahead.
Oh my God! See, you see what I'm saying? All right, so
you know
all right.
you got Iron Man 3 in yours, Jerron.
Yo, bruh, come on. You know that's your favorite movie. Don't do that. You go to sleep to that movie every night. It's okay. It's on repeat. That and Spider-Man 2 for you. I know you love it. But go ahead.
Well, I think
Incredible Hulk.
I think we've all had enough. Well, yeah, guys, you know, like Duran said, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow us on Instagram, New Block Nerds Podcast. Definitely send us a comment. Let us know what y'all thought. If y'all hate our special guest, you know, we'll never bring her back on again. But if you do, let us know. If y'all got any other suggestions, you know, we're probably definitely going to do this top 5 MCU movie thing now. So thank you, Nigel, for that.
Can you actually do that with DC movies? I don't think you can unless you include all the DC movies ever made.
I don't think you couldn't do it with like DCEU, like Snyderverse.
Yeah, you would have to do it with every single one.
Because honestly, there aren't 5 that are worth a damn. So
Wow.
You'd have to include the animated movies too, like all the DC stuff.
Oh, you can do it with DC animated movies.
Oh yeah. That would be extremely difficult to do with DC animated movies. But anyways, again, we're gonna this podcast will be 5 hours long if we dive into that. So, I've been Prince, Medic Grizzly, Cardell, Nigel. Appreciate y'all, love y'all, and as always, it's been a pleasure.
Peace and love.
Peace.